All right, everybody, welcome to another short episode of Tecos en Europa. I am Jorge,
My name is Edgar.
and we're here to talk about what was promised a little late, but we're here anyway. Germany versus Mexico, a 2-2 tie, which I don't think anybody is mad about. What a great game. I actually missed most of it, but we're gonna have ENG here to tell us what he saw and how he saw Jimmy Lozano's sort of new image come to life.
Yes, it was a really good game. We were like talking on Twitter and Reddit, and we were saying like, this is probably the best Mexico game since probably Germany, Mexico Germany in
Last time they
2018.
played, yeah.
Yeah, that last time. That's how good it was.
And if I'm straight
Because
with you, I don't think just the game, the window. Both games are amazing.
Yes, that's the thing. Is the full window was like respectable level football,
Yeah.
both from the adversaries and Mexico.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy about it, and I'm really happy from this game. Like Jimmy Lozano stepped up, and the players follow. He really changed the setup. I'm going to talk about a little bit about that as soon as we begin, but. I think you're gonna be happy about a couple of things that I'm gonna say.
So let's start off first with the lineup, which is a couple changes here with Memo Ochoa on goal, Montes, Vasquez in the middle as center backs, no change there. Jorge Sanchez and Jesus Gallardo are our fullbacks, with Gallardo being the change here. Edson Alvarez, Luis Romo in the middle, with Luis Romo being the change. And Uriel Antuna, Eric Sanchez, Chucky Lozano up top, right behind Santiago Jimenez at the top, which was once again another change in this lineup, as well as Uriel Antuna, which I didn't mention. But tell me what kind of dynamism or what did you see from this lineup as opposed to versus Ghana?
Well, the biggest difference is having Antuna. That he was the best player in the game, not only for Mexico, like full on the best player in the field, filled to the brim with Bayern and Dortmund players, was freaking Uriel Antuna. That's how good it was. So we were playing defensively, but not close on the back.
Yeah.
We were pressing very high up. Chiquito Sanchez was killing himself pressing, like going for the center backs. Every time he was pressing on Rudiger, it looked hilarious because he's like a foot and a half shorter than Rudiger, and Rudiger was scared. Like whenever like a little French bulldog attacks you, that's how he looked. Like, oh hell no, he's gonna.
I think it's because you don't expect it. It just comes at you.
Yeah, you don't expect it. Exactly. So it was a very high intensity game from Mexico. Like with Tata, we never were this intense. Not even in the good years, like.
And that's what I appreciate about Jimmy, which is something that we also saw in the Olympics versus Brazil, for example. We wanted to play the game. There was no, oh, guys, let's sit back. Let's wait for them to come to us, which is an acceptable way of play. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do really respect a coach that can just go out to play no matter who it is. He did it against Brazil, and now he did it once again against Germany, and just went out there to try to get this win. Even after the 2-2, when the game was about to end, I remember you telling me, like, hey, he wants to win the game. Like, he's putting in.
Yeah, he's going. He changed the attacking players.
Yeah,
he didn't put in more defensive. So he went for the game. He wants to win.
It's just something that video where we talked about when he first got hired. That's one of the things that we really respected from his attacking mindset, moving the ball, having possession not just for possession's sake, but to do something with it, to have an end product.
Yes, and right now I want to get to the important thing that I wanted to talk about at the beginning is that he finally set up something different than the 4-3-3.
Yeah.
We were playing full-on double pivot 4-2-3-1. Like Chiquito Sanchez was full-on playing a 10.
Yeah.
Like he was half of the game he was in the box of Germany. Like mostly pressing because they had most of the possession, but that possession wasn't like dangerous most of the time. They were really, really struggling to get to dangerous areas, and that's getting to my next point that the defense was fantastic. Like the full-on four-man defense with two pivots was really good at like not giving anything away in the middle and pushing them to the wings
Yeah.
where they always try it with Sané. Like Jorge Sanchez played a pretty decent enough game, but the football was not played on his wing. You
Yeah.
know, like Gallardo was killing himself every attack because Sané and Musiala were really pushing to get through to him, and Gallardo failed sometimes. Like even one of the goals was a cross that he didn't cut because it was so much he eventually missed some, and whenever he did miss, uh, Johan was there to stop it.
Okay.
And
So
talking about Johan,
before
yeah,
we move down to the defensive line, though, I want to ask you a little bit before we were talking about the midfield. Talk to me about Romo, man. Talk to me about the difference of Romo
yes,
and Chavez. So, do you think Chavez would have done a better job as a pivot, or do you accept Romo in that position?
it's hard to like compare because Romo played like 60 minutes and he did play a very physical game, even though it's fair to say he was the worst Mexican player in the field.
Hmm.
Like he had the worst showing,
Mhm.
but I think he did his job. You know, he was very physical. He was covering with Johan. He was pushing up in the press. He was fine. I don't want to say like he sucked. Like I don't remember. Like Orbelin had a worse game against Ghana than Romo right
Okay.
here. That's what I want to get. Like people are hating on him because he made the mistake from the first goal. He didn't cut the cross from the corner kick, so it's Romo's fault. But I mean, in field he was fine. I believe Chavez might have done better, but it was a very physical game. So you wanted someone as tall and wide as
So,
Romo, you know?
besides the goal, the error on the goal, would you say it was more of like an okay performance surrounded by shining players?
Yeah, that's exactly
Okay.
the right way to give it because he didn't play a bad game. He played a quiet game, which the loudest part was his failing in that corner.
Yeah. And
That's the
everyone
thing.
else just had a lot of positives to give, so
Yes,
it makes them look bad.
exactly.
Okay, so now going down to the defense like you were doing, Johan Vasquez, Cesar Montes, Jorge Sanchez, Gallardo. What went down here?
Well, as I said, most of the possession in the game was had by Germany. Even though Mexico was the most dangerous one, I mean, you have seen play West Ham this season.
Yeah.
That's what we were playing. That like full
68%
on,
to 32% for us. Possession.
yes, that's full on moist ball.
And I mean, great system for Edson too, apparently.
Yes, he was very good in possession and without possession. He wasn't trying to do everything as sometimes he does. He was really like trusting the other players. I mean, he had this dumb yellow that he sometimes gets. He was fighting with Rodiger and one time like he
Yeah.
tries to defend his other like his teammates even though they don't need him to, and that's it's almost a perfect performance if he doesn't do that like losing his concentration at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But other than that, he was great. I don't think he ever lost the ball. Like he's becoming a really good carrier, not only passer, not only defender. Like he's good at getting the ball and pushing upfield, and just like he has this weird walk where he lowers his center of gravity and just gets his knees wide, and I feel like no one can really get to the ball because he's walking like some kind of like angry chimpanzee or something. So he's really good at carrying it and defending it. He starts to spin to get it out. He looks awkward, but it always works. So
Yeah.
you
As long as
can
he's not
really
losing
fault him.
possession.
Yes.
All right. Now I think probably the biggest news from this game. Let's talk about our wingers, man. So we had the change here of Uriel Antuna for Orbelin Pineda and Irving Lozano now predominantly on the left, which is his best side. Against Ghana, they were switching back and forth, but now you see Irving Lozano is able to just thrive on the left side, which is supposed to be his best side. So tell me about these two wingers and what difference was here versus Ghana.
Well, the biggest difference is that Antuna is a full-on winger.
Mm-hmm.
And Orbelin, he's always trying to cut inside. He doesn't really want to play on the wide spaces. But Irving Lozano was playing both. He was cutting inside. He was going wide. He was a nightmare for Sule from Dortmund.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I was watching both Reddit and Twitter. The Germans were really, really angry with him. Like, he always fucked up that fuck, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it was really angry at German. So, Lozano was very good, very creative. But you know what I'm going to say? He was a little bit too greedy with the ball.
Yeah.
Like, he shot a couple of times, but he really should have passed. And as soon as he fixes that in himself, he's going to become like the greatest Mexican player.
Which is a shame because against Ghana, he wasn't that selfish. And in PSV, before the window started, he was also showing those signs of like, hey, let me get my guys first. And then when the game was iced, he was trying to get his own. You saw those selfish shots. But I think that he first had the mentality of like, okay, let me get the assist first. And that could be just due to because he wants to earn his spot and he doesn't need to do that here. But still, I think I was expecting a different Chucky in the sense of like selfishness and looking over for maybe Santi in the middle of the box, which brings me as a segue to the elephant in the room. Let's talk about Santiago Jimenez.
Well, before we go into Santi, that was, I just say the elephant in the room. Antuna, we haven't talked enough about Antuna.
You want to keep going? Let's go, man. Let's go. I could talk about Antuna all day.
He was fucking fantastic. He threw a couple of crosses like full on Jürgen Damm, like going all the way to the moon, But even though he killed twice the fullbacks, and both of them, like. I don't remember who was the first one, like Gross, something like that, and then Raum in the second half, and
Gosens.
Yeah, both of them just like couldn't stop him. Like every counterattack that Antuna had the ball, he was playing magic. He wasn't stopped in any way or form. Like full on, Rudiger was moved to the left, so he could try to stop him. That's how bad it got.
Yeah, and like from what I heard and from like the highlights that I seen, like he just looked like he had a really great game. And I just want to talk a little bit about how, because I made a post where I was saying like, oh hey, like I want everyone to know that Antuna is this type of player. And I don't want it to sound like I'm saying he needs to be starting. No, I specifically think Antuna is a bench player for this national team. Yes. And I think that if you're able to use him correctly, whenever you need him in the right situations, he can shine like he did right now. Like, they didn't just happen out of nowhere. Like, this wasn't a miracle. It was a good situation for him to shine, and Jimmy Lozano understood that. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't magic, bro. It's not magic. It's just like tactics.
He was full on play. We were playing a low block counter-attacking pressing team. So, like a couple of different concepts, but it was all, this kind of game is the way we should have played against Argentina. But Tata was too afraid to do it. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because,
talking Argentina, like, that's the type of players that they had. Like, they didn't win because they had like 10 Messis. They won because they had one amazing player. Well, not one. They had a couple amazing players. But a lot of them were role players that understood what they had to do.
Yes.
And some of them was literally just like, all right, we need to get the ball to this guy and then protect them. And that's how they won, because they understood what everybody needed to do. And I think that is what Antuna is, a player that needs to understand what he needs to do, and the coach needs to understand where to put him, and he can thrive. He can thrive in that way.
Yeah, and as you said, like the coach really gets Antuna, He really gets a lot of the players. The whole midfield was perfectly set up. The whole defense was set up as good as it can be set up. So maybe the Lozano thing, the Shuki Lozano thing is this is the first window like Jimmy has with Chucky. So maybe eventually they're gonna like really like click what they need to be, because there's some. I don't feel this is our ceiling. That's how good we were today. Like this game, I feel
that's the thing.
like
that's the thing. I feel the same
we could be a little bit better.
I feel the same
and going better, I'm going to get to Santi because he didn't have the greatest showing, maybe because he was playing in a low block, as I say. He was playing in the midfield. He played a little bit like Raúl sometimes, in the good way, not in the bad way. He missed a really like a sitter. He should have. He's as good. He's so good. He should have scored.
Yeah, he's shown he can do those. He's shown he can make those.
Yes.
Like no matter what,
like sometimes you miss those. It's okay.
Yeah.
And then he had a couple of other shots, like really good shots that Ter Stegen had to stop, and one was a little like wide, but he had a good game. I feel like is the same game Raúl in his better years will have had. That's how good he was, and I feel like, as we said, he is doing these things he didn't before. He could be better, and he is becoming better. So if the rest of the team improves a little bit, if we get one, not two, one fullback that can full on defend the 90 minutes, and Santi gets better, and Antuna doesn't like loses his mind as well. If Shuki learns to share the ball a little bit more, if Edson is almost perfect. So
that's so the too many
there's
things.
So much to grow, and there's like the ceiling of each of those players that I mentioned is still higher. That I feel we can be better. That's how good it was.
Is gonna be the striker. So Santi Jimenez, whether it's Santi Jimenez learning to do the things that we need, or finding a striker that isn't him, if that's the case, that can do those things, which is do that. Raúl, it's because like Jimenez before the injury is the perfect striker for this national team, man.
Yes.
And I will die on that hill. I don't care. And the second thing would be the midfield. Like once we get that perfect mixture, like the perfect three players that together can combine, it's over, man. Like it's over.
That's the thing. I was thinking about this. Lozano is doing something very smart. He's moving these players in the midfield. Like sometimes one, sometimes you put in another, sometimes, and they're like they are really competing for the spot. So Chiquito Sanchez really wants to be a starter. So he plays like his ass off every game. And Romo doesn't want to get relegated to the bench because he has been like Lozano's boy. And he is relegated because Chavez is so good. And
you can Jimmy Lozano. Jimmy Lozano.
Yeah, Jimmy.
Oh, okay.
And those are just the three in this game, but Chavez is there. He was great when he came on. And then Cordova was really good. And he, Cordova is just like 5 minutes away to become a perfect 10. So he can be so good. And if we're gonna set up this 4-2-3-1, you need 10s. And Orbelín is a 10. And Cordova can be a 10. Marcel Ruiz can be a 10. And if he gets all of these players fighting for the spot, not among each other, but like with themselves, that's how you get a great team.
I think it's gonna be. I want to go back to this in the next window, but I think if Cordova is healthy, he scores next window. I'm gonna come back to it.
I will have. I would say you need to give like one game. Give it to
like from the beginning, like a starter. Yes. He scores next game, like next window. If he's healthy, he's able to come in.
I mean, next window is 2 games against Honduras.
That's why.
After this, they need to score like 7. I can see. Like.
That's why I'm saying if he's able to come in like light on his feet, good against a weaker CONCACAF team, I think we can finally see something from Cordova there, dude. I'm telling you, man, Cordova is just one of those players that I think he has it in him. We just have to see it. Like we just have to prove to everybody else. So about two more things before we head out, which is gonna be the goals. So first of all, the goals that we scored, which was one from
Antuna.
Uriel Antuna and then one from Eric Sanchez. So let's talk about the Antuna one.
A header from Chiquito Sanchez.
Yeah.
In front of Nicolas Sule, that is almost 2 meters high.
We need to change that nickname, bro. Chiquito Sanchez is not
No,
anymore.
he is Chiquito. He doesn't need to be.
No. That's just from the outside, man. On the inside, he's a 10-foot man.
He's gonna become like Napoleon Sanchez or something like that.
So that was a beautiful goal that Antuna won as well. Now the goals that we can see
really good assist by Lozano
as well.
Really good.
So there we go. We're talking about the selfishness, but he came with the assist at the end of the day.
Yes.
Now the more important thing, which is the goals that we conceded. So we had that stat right before this game, which was Montes and Johan Vasquez had conceded 0 goals when they are in a partnership.
Like 7 games.
In like 7 games. Okay, we had that set piece goal in the first one, and then it moved to okay, they haven't conceded an open play, and then we get that goal in the second half. So that kind of died a little bit, but I think that's still pretty good. 8 games, 1 goal in open play. Let's see how long we can keep it at 1 goal.
Yes, I feel. I tell you, we are one good fullback from becoming like
just one.
Just one. I don't ask for 2. Just
Who cares,
one.
Man?
Like,
just one.
Like just let us clone Johan and put him on the
left.
on the left, and we are done. You know.
Or just get like what about like a third center back? Can you take that?
That's the thing. Like,
would you take that?
You get a good left center back and put Johan on the left, and we're done. Like we're high level.
I'm telling you, it's a couple things, man. It's just a couple things that like if the stars align. Like I'm feeling good for 2026, not to win it, but like to look good, to make some noise.
I'm starting to say like we can hurt people on.
Exactly.
On
That's
Copa
my
America.
goal. Like I'm not asking for a Gold Cup, man. I'm asking to just have an exciting time because we're actually gonna be there for this one. So I want to have my money's worth.
Yes, it's gonna be good.
All right, man. So that was a pretty long analysis, but I think it was just such a great game that we had to step over a little bit. But make sure you guys see us next weekend for the start once again of the European football leagues. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so do not miss it. We will see you guys on Monday to go back to a regularly scheduled programming. See you guys there.
Acevedo cometh.
Acevedo's back. Acevedo is back.